Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'll be doing a topic of how to be friends with an autistic person. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, click on the notification bell and also share my videos. So before I get to it, let me ask a question. Have you ever see a person, this is in general, have you ever seen a person where, you watch a conversation with them and the other person or multiple persons because conversations can take place between two or more persons, and you witness the aftermath of that conversation. And it's like you say, you know what? I have to get to know this person more, I think I'm gonna approach this person and see what I'm like and things like that. You know, being friends with autistic person, I will admit is hard at first. But then again, everything in life in general is hard at first, and then the more you do that thing that's hard at first, the easier it gets. Same thing with being friends with an autistic person. Like the more you're around them, the more you're friends with them, the easier it gets. And the less awkward it gets, you know? Just like being friends with anyone is hard, but in my opinion, being friends with an artistic person is even harder because considering the, the potential communication barrier in between, I mean, an artistic person, body language versus what typical developed body language is two different kinds of fish. And I realized this based on my experience. It takes a longer time to get to know someone who's artistic than person who are typically developed. Yeah, normal. So, like I said, it's just that's why it's hard to explain, but it's just hard. I mean, I'll go make an argument very hard at that because I always wonder in my lifetime, oh man, why am I having a hard time making friends? This was before I researched autism and I didn't know that. Turns out, and when I researched the research, I said, wow, no wonder why I'm having a hard time making friends. And if I do manage to make friends, it takes a while for me and person I'm friends with to gel, to like bond, chemistry, things like that I'm talking about. One of the things to be friends with someone autistic is like just be mindful that just like y'all, they have preferences too of how they like want to be communicated with. Like, you know, for me, based on my experience, I don't mind talking multiple ground, but then I realize I do best when it's just me and a person and it's one on one where I have that person undivided attention where I can like take my time to like get to know them and things like that. And I think you should be mindful of when you're talking to an artist that when you're talking to them, there's a chance they won't, and you're talking to them one on one or in a group or something, chances of them maintaining eye contact with you, it's not very good. And it does take a lot of, to me in general, should take a lot of other artists out there to make the eye contact as well. Just a lot of to make the eye contact in a long period of time. It takes a while. So there are times where you may be speaking to them and then they might look, for me personally, if you there are times where I might multitask and like look elsewhere or I might turn my eyes down and I'm not looking straight at you and things like that. No, it may appear that I'm not listening or I'm ignoring you or whatever. But that's not the case. For me personally, I like to stay alert. I mean, I try to teach myself to stay alert, even when I'm talking to somebody. So I'm trying to focus on conversation while focus on my surroundings simultaneously. Like example, being at money, being at school, or being on the road, or anyways you can think of in general. Like I just like to stay alert because stuff can happen, and then yeah. Another thing to be mindful of is that my attention span isn't very good. Like I said, because you could talk to me and then the time I might ask you to repeat or whatever. I mean, I hear it clearly because, yeah, there are times where you can call me from a very far distance. And no, if I'm used to you and I know your voice and I know your face and everything there, then you might call my name and I might turn around and actually hear you and then I just respond back. That's why I'm just looking around because a person can call me anytime and I won't know. There are moments where a person will say they call out to me and didn't hear me. I'm like, I didn't hear you. There are times I might suggest, listen, if you have to come up close to me to call me or things like that, they come tell you may have to do that, especially if I'm not used to you. I'm not used to being around you and things like that. If I'm used to being around you and I know your face, because there are times I try to stare, which is absolutely weird. Person might take the stare is kind of inappropriate. For me, I stare to try and memorize the face and at least it's the first to memorize it. So when they call me whatever, even from a very far distance I can hear. I'm trying to get to the point where it's like you don't have to be close to me just to call out to me or whatever. You know? Another thing mindful of also when they're being first with someone autistic is that they wanna be understood just like y'all want to be understood, you know? So if they happen to open up telling you how they feel, for me in person I don't really like to express how I feel because a lot of times when I express my feelings it's like a lot of times get dismissed or something. It's like I can't sit without. It's like a lot of times I walk on an eggshell basically. At the other times I wonder, okay, can this person handle the truth? Can handle how I express myself, or how I say things and things like that? Yeah, autistic persons tend to be brutally and honest. So that's another thing you have to remember when you're being friends with them. The chance of them lying is not very good unless of course in my opinion they get uncomfortable. But even then, like for me now I prefer to tell the truth than lying in the week. I mean I can say for sure just to be kind of a liar or I realize when you lie on a consistent basis, you lose your credibility, and only way a person will believe you if you provide evidence. Say for an example, you're at a court and you're used to lying now. You're at a court, and the person who stood outside of you used to you lying, and you're talking to the judge. Because that person is used to you lying, you can't even be surprised when they say, "Hey, Your Honor, this person is a liar. Everything he says or do, he just lie about." So now the only way the judge is listening in to all of this story because how it depends on which case set up is that the operative will talk first and you go second, you're the defendant, you go second. They call you a liar now. And the only way the judge can believe you over them is if you provide evidence. Don't want to put yourself in that position where you need to get purchases on a consistent basis. Now, for a person to believe you on a consistent basis, now you're going to have to provide evidence each and every time. And it does get annoying after, okay? It's like, you'll be like to yourself, man, can I not say anything or not? You call a liar? That's what I just try to tell the truth a lot of times. Even if it hurts, because it's like, I just rather tell the truth than lying because I don't want to lose my credibility, you know? So, as I said, no, there are times where know what your art, the person, the artist, the person your friends with preference is. Know what they like, what they don't like, what their triggers are, etc. Trying to understand, trying to understand them, that's really important. Because when you get to a place of knowing what they like, what they don't like, and you know the triggers are, especially when they're going through life. Especially someone like me, you know, I go through a lot. And if you ask me about my triggers, shoot, I can tell you I have a lot of them. So, I mean, once I realized with triggers is that the more triggers you have, the more side effects you'll have as you're going through life. And you face something that's a trigger to you, the less triggers you have, the better. You know what I'm saying? If you have more triggers, shoot, you're gonna have what side effects to deal with, and it takes a fighter to deal with all of those side effects. Fortunate for me, I'm a fighter, so somehow, despite those triggers and those side effects, then I can hold my own. And I'm okay when it's all said and done. This is at the end of the day, persons with autism wants to be accepted to the world because a lot of times, to be frank with you, this is where I started looking into things where it's like Unless of course you say flat out, listen, I accept you for you, I accept you for who you are despite your autism. Then a lot of times for me it's confusing because I'm like, I have to watch your actions, and then one thing I learn about action and words, those things has an intimate relationship, those things has to mesh. So if those things match, then, but if it doesn't, whew, then something's off. I mean, for me, my opinion and experience, to hear a person say to me, if I'm having a conversation with them, a person in general, and I say, it was nice talking to you and things like that, I can tell you one thing, it boosts my confidence up for sure. Not only that, it hurts my self-esteem and my speech peak too, because persons who know me will know I'm a fast talker, so another thing you should be mindful, especially being friends with an artist, especially someone like me, is that there are times when I'm going to talk fast. I mean, there are moments where I could start a convo, and it really depends on how I started. If I start off slow, but there are times where I could start off slow and still go fast, same way, you know. So, so I would say be patient with them, you know, especially if they're struggling, because a lot of times, yeah, I would say be patient with someone who is struggling with the first meltdowns or whatever. Like I said, someone like me and other artists and person out there go through a lot, to a point where it's like, if you were to ask me like what acceptance and recognition means to me, I would say it means a lot. You know what? In fact, a lot of things means a lot to me as of late, even the small things. And I think asking the person who's autistic, especially if you're friends with them, an opinion on something, really does help. So it'll be like, you validate their opinion. I would say, test opinion, start small. Ask them small things and work your way up if you have to. You know, ask them small, I would say, ask them small stuff and work your way up. You know, because when you ask them for an opinion and you ask them for advice about something, I would tell you, if anybody asks me advice about even smallest things or the big things or whatever, whether it's at school or whatever, how I did this, how I did that, and you ask me on a consistent basis, after a while, I'll be like, oh, looks like this person follows my opinion. And that really means a lot to me, especially, it means a lot. More of a story, at the end of the day, I would say don't underestimate an autistic person just because they're autistic. Because I can tell you, a lot of persons who I run into in high school, especially a person who call me handicapped, retarded, those type of names, underestimated me a lot. And especially in class, they kept trying to become me. They kept trying to disturb me, trying to throw me off. And what it was scary was I didn't know I was autistic at the time in high school. So I couldn't adjust to that. I could adjust to my surroundings and what's being said and when person call me certain names. As I'm trying to say, don't underestimate an autistic person, because you may think just because the artistic person that they're not capable of doing great things. Well, I've proven as I go along in my lifetime that I'm very capable of doing big things. What a big things I'm capable of doing is being an inspiration, which I was doing even before I knew I was artistic. And even after that, I'm still doing it. So my advice for other personal artists out there is that, and I end this video, find someone who, find a friend who is going to try to understand you, not just the person, but your disability, and not use a disability against you. Find a person who's willing to support you through hard times, who's willing to be the best out of you, and not trying to lower your self-esteem just because you're artistic or whatever, and your intelligence is, you know, find a find a friend that is willing, you can be yourself around. That does work wonders. Because when you can be yourself only and not try to be anyone else, in the long run it helps. That's the end of my YouTube channel. If anything I haven't said up here, you can put it in the comments below. Might do another video when it's answered them before the day done. So, yep.